Before we create, we need to determine whether the accounting method used on the document will be document level accounting, which is the default, or if we want commodity level accounting. This requires a little bit of explanation. This explanation also will cover requisitions, purchase orders, as well as invoices. The two types of accounting. Document level accounting is the default method assigned to these documents. This method allows all commodities to be charged to one or more focal combinations on the entire document. So you could have one commodity or 101 commodities, and you could charge it all to one focal or distribute the entire document to 2, 3, or 4 or more focal combinations. The other option is to use commodity level accounting. And what this entails is it allows each commodity to be charged to its own focal or focals. So commodity 1 could use one focal, commodity 2 could use 2 or 3 focals, or it could use one different focal, and commodity 3, 4, and 5, each one would have its own focal combinations possible. There's one very important thing to be aware of if you want to use commodity level accounting on a requisition, a purchase order, or an invoice. The method must be chosen on the document header at the very beginning when you are creating the document. If not, it will default to document level accounting, and you cannot switch to commodity level accounting after document level accounting has been assigned to the document. The only way to do that is to delete the document that has been assigned document level accounting and recreate the document using commodity level accounting. We will point this out on the document headers so you see where it can be identified. This is the Banner Finance how-to video on creating purchase orders. As we discussed earlier, you can create purchase orders using document level accounting, which is the default, or you can use commodity level accounting. We're going to go through a document level accounting purchase order first. For those institutions that are not using the online requisitioning system, this is when you would typically create a purchase order from scratch. FPA PURR is the form you use to create a purchase order from scratch, or you can open up an existing purchase order that has not yet been completed and make changes. You can enter the word next or leave it blank to let the system assign the next available purchase order number, or you can enter a specific document number. You can also copy a purchase order that has already been posted to duplicate it or to use it as a starting point and make changes. It makes things easier if you're ordering the same commodities over again. We're going to leave it blank and do a next block. The only thing you need to worry about on this first part of the header is to determine when you want the items delivered, which is normally as soon as possible, so you would put today in there. And the other thing is this box that's currently checked saying that document level accounting is how this document is going to be managed. As you're going to see when we do a commodity level accounting document, we want to be sure to uncheck this box before we continue on. If you fail to remember to uncheck this box and you start the document as a document level accounting purchase order, you cannot come back and change it. Next block allows you to put in your buyer code, and the list of who the buyers for your institution are can be shown by clicking on the drop-down box. NSF checking is going to take place because this purchase order was not created from a requisition. Those pieces of information are not shared. Do a next block, go through to the requester, You have to make sure you have a valid ship-to address. These are receivers. Go ahead and go to the vendor. Go to the vendor and search for our vendor. You enter in a search criteria. You can highlight your vendor and choose the select key or double click on the vendor and it will bring that information in for you. Once the vendor information is available, you come to the accounting commodity form. Because this is a document level accounting, we can create all of our commodities before we start to put our FOPL information in, because all accounting is based on the document total. So we come over and we put in paper towels. We go to our next record. When you're done entering your commodities, you do an X block to go to the FOPL stream. When you're finished entering all of your FOPL information, you want to go to the completion form. Next block should take you there. See at the bottom of the page, everything is balanced between the header, the commodity, and the accounting. Please notice that at the bottom of the page, that insufficient budget for the sequence number 3 is going to suspend this transaction. If we try to complete the document, we're going to get the error message that there's an NSF error for FOPL sequence number 3. We can select it and notice that the NSF suspense box is checked. If we have authorization and we know we have sufficient budget, we can check this box and attempt to complete the document again. By checking complete, tells us at the bottom of the form that the document has been completed and is forwarded to the posting process. We're now going to create a purchase order using commodity level accounting. So like before, we can leave the purchase order field blank and the system will assign the next available number. Do a next block. Remember to uncheck the document level accounting box to make this a commodity level accounting document. You can then come back, put in the expected delivery date, ask for it for today, and continue on to fill out your purchase order. The organization is required. Valid ship-to address needs to be entered. When you get to the commodity accounting tab, this is where navigation will be different. Because each commodity can have its own unique group of fopals, you need to complete one commodity at a time. And once you complete your commodity, you do a next block to go down to the fopal to place the fopal information for this specific commodity. And you can have one or more fopals for a given commodity. Once you're done with the fopal for the first commodity, you do a previous block, return to the commodity that you had just completed the fopals for, do a next record, and you'll notice at the bottom of the form that the fopals have gone away. That's because we're creating a new commodity that will have its own fopals. And once you enter that commodity, you do a next block again to go to the fopals for that commodity. When you're all finished, if you're in the fopal block, you can do a next block and the system will take you to the complete icon. Notice, however, we have the insufficient budget for item 2, sequence 1, commodity item 2, fopal sequence 1, and it's going to suspend the transaction. You can click the complete, it will bring up the error message and allows you to select it. Again, you can see if you're able to override the NSF condition. If not, you would just put the document into suspense or in process, notify the appropriate parties that this item is in NSF status, have them transfer the budget, and then you would complete the purchase order and send it to posting. Thank you for watching.